This is the best prison food I have ever seen. Various Michelin set meals, abalone, lobster, bear paw, bird's nest, all kinds of delicious dishes are available. Some people would do anything to get in, but it's very difficult for those who get in to come out alive. This is a multi-level prison, with 2 prisoners being held on each level. No one knows how many layers there are specifically. You can't see the end online, and it feels like an abyss offline. The male protagonist wakes up and finds himself in prison. And on the 48th floor, his old friend is an old man. He says he's lucky to have arrived on the 48th floor on his first try. The male protagonist is confused and doesn't know what it means. The old man finished speaking and suddenly threw the pillow away and knelt on it. Then the alarm sounded. A suspended platform slowly descended, filled with various foods. The old man immediately started devouring them, but the male protagonist discovered that they were all leftovers. He looked up and suddenly realized that if there were 47 floors above, then these foods were leftovers from more than 9 people above. The old man disdainfully said, "Hurry up and eat. Because it's only 1 meal a day." The male protagonist hesitated for a moment and picked a relatively clean fruit, put it in his pocket. The platform started to descend, the old man drank all the wine in the bottle, and then threw it down directly. The male protagonist asked the old man why he did this, and the old man said that no matter what, the people below would still eat. And the person above definitely vomited. Suddenly, the male protagonist felt hot. The old man explained that if food is hidden, the temperature will rise indefinitely until burned to death. The male protagonist was frightened and quickly threw away the fruit. Then the old man continued to say, "You came to the 48th floor for the first time, so enjoy it secretly. Last month, I was on the 132nd floor, where I couldn't even get bone scraps to eat. Even on these few dozen floors, people often jump off the building." Just as the words fell, another body fell from the floor above. The male protagonist curiously asked the old man how he survived for a month without eating anything on the 132nd floor. The old man looked at the knife in his hand and didn't say much. The next day, when I woke up, the platform descended again, and there was actually a woman sitting on it. The old man said she would come down once a month and has been searching for the lost child. Before he could take a bite, the platform started to descend again. The people on the next level saw a woman and wanted to do something bad to her. The male protagonist wanted to save her, but there was a 6-meter gap between the platforms. After a while, screams of a man came from below. It seems that the woman has already killed them. The male protagonist looked at the woman in astonishment. As time passed day by day, the male protagonist also adapted to this kind of life and gradually started eating. They and the old man amused themselves in prison. Soon, a month passed. On that night, the old man said, "Let's pray quickly, hoping that tomorrow we can reach a good floor." After saying that, both of them fell into a coma. The male protagonist woke up and found himself tightly bound by the old man, and their floor was on the 171st floor. The old man said, "On such low floors, it is no longer possible to get food. Either eat people or be eaten. I will wait for 8 days, then cut your flesh piece by piece, so it will be fresher." Suddenly, various screams came from above. It seems that many floors nearby are experiencing the same thing, and some people jumped directly. At this time, the platform slowly descended, and there was indeed no food on it. Even the dinner plate was licked clean, and time passed quickly, but for the male protagonist, every minute was torment. Even if he shouted his throat, no one answered. 8 days passed, and the old man walked towards the male protagonist and began to cut his flesh. The male protagonist screamed heartbreakingly, and suddenly the platform was lowered, and the female killer was still sitting on it. In order to repay the male protagonist, the woman killed the old man, began to eat his meat, and then followed the platform to continue down. Not long after, the male protagonist began to suffer from hunger and came to the old man's side, swallowing a handful of maggots. In a daze, a month passed, and the male protagonist barely survived with the help of the old man. When he woke up again, he was already on the 33rd floor, and his roommate had also turned into a woman holding a dog. She was originally a prison guard and somehow ended up here. She told the male protagonist that this prison had a total of 200 floors, and there was enough food prepared for everyone. But if the people in the upper level eat too much, the people in the lower level will not have enough to eat. She only eats a little bit every day and doesn't forget to tell the people downstairs to restrain their appetite, so that every level can have food. But the people downstairs simply don't listen to her. One day, the male protagonist couldn't stand it anymore and told the people downstairs, "If you don't reduce your food intake, I will defecate on your food." Unexpectedly, it really worked. After a few more days, the platform descended, and the female assassin lay on top, seeming to be sick. The two immediately rescued her. In the evening, the two women suddenly started fighting. It turned out that the female assassin had eaten the woman's dog. Soon, it was the day of allocation again. The male protagonist woke up and found himself on the 202nd floor, and his roommate had already hanged himself. The male protagonist looked down and still couldn't see the bottom. It seems that the staff here are also unfamiliar with this prison. The male protagonist looked at the empty food on the platform and felt completely hopeless. At first, he relied on the lion's charge, but soon he couldn't hold on anymore and came to the woman's body. When the male protagonist woke up again, he found himself on the 6th floor. Thank God, this time his cellmate has also become a black man, holding a rope ready to escape. He asked the person upstairs to help hold the rope while he climbed up floor by floor. The person upstairs readily agreed, but just as the man reached the top, they suddenly let go of the rope and he fell quickly. Fortunately, the protagonist caught him in time. The man was scared and cried, with no rope left. His escape plan was ruined. Shortly afterwards, the platform descended. On the 6th level, the food was indeed abundant. The male protagonist ate a portion, and the platform slowly lowered. The male protagonist saw the people below trembling on the food. He wanted to change the situation and found a black man to discuss. The two of them decided to follow the platform and go down together, controlling the amount of food on each level so that people on each level could rush to reached over 200 floors, and the remaining parts were divided cleanly. The two of them kept the cake, which they wanted the manager to know, but someone wanted to try to change this world. Finally, they reached the 333rd floor, where they found the girl under the bed. And the platform continued to descend, with only darkness like hell. The male protagonist saw that the girl was very hungry and hated her. The next day, the male protagonist found that the black man had bled to death excessively. So he decided to put the little girl on the platform and send her to the top. He himself walked towards the dark space, and the little girl followed the platform all the way up. He wants to let the management of the prison know that someone has changed the prison. The film ends here. Upper and lower levels represent reality. People in the upper level always have endless resources, while people in the lower level fight to the death for scarce resources. In reality, our resources can never be reasonably distributed. Maybe the little girl doesn't exist at all, it's just the male protagonist's fantasy. In the end, the cake was delivered to the top.